Hey folks, how you doing? This is CJ from StriperKingGear.com. As you know, we anglers face many rules and regulations on a yearly basis. 2014 is proven not to be any different. There's no better person to explain these rules and regulations to us than Captain Bill Baker himself. So please enjoy this week's episode of Fish Talk, featuring Captain Bill Baker, live from his shop. Hey folks, how you doing? This is CJ from StriperKingGear.com.
And Bill Jr. at Bill's Sports Shop. We have a really special guest today.
Oh, I'm not special. I'm Captain Bill. How you doing, CJ?
Captain Bill Baker, man.
I happen to be his father. I raised him. I tried hard.
Yeah, you tried hard. Today we want to talk about the new rules and regulations of 2014 season. The new books are in, and actually, there's no better person to explain that than you, my man. All the books are on.
Yeah, the books are in, and if you look on the very last page, I think it's the last page, right back here is the advertisement that we put in the book for Bill's Sports Shop.
Hey!
It's not the last page. Next to the last page. There it is. See? It's upside down.
That's right, they're used to that.
The book is printed in January, CJ, and the problem with that is that they do a lot of advertising now in the book, which they didn't used to do, and that's why we have an ad in it, and it fits that a tackle shop would be in the book. But it comes out in January, and all of the rules and regulations are usually passed in May or June, because there has to be 3 public hearings for every rule change that there is with Fish and Wildlife, and after the 3 public meetings it has to go to the governor to sign it into law. So therefore everything in here is last year's regulations.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're talking a lot of really good things though. We've had a lot of years of very strict regulations on flounder, and now they're starting to loosen them up, because for a couple of years there, Delaware just didn't catch any flounder. It was like 18 and a half inches, and nobody was able to get a keeper. So now they're talking about bringing it 4 a day per angler at 16 inches. There's a ton of 16 and a half and 17 inch flounders out there, CJ. So
Some of them are thicker than the 17 and 18 inch flounder.
Yeah.
well, yeah, they're the better fish. So if they go with that, which it appears that they are going to go with that, with a full season open, 12 months out of the year, which I'm always against a closure.
Right.
The thing that everybody loves to fish for out there, though, is sea bass.
Yeah.
And the sea bass have been a little bit hard to come by.
Talking about closures.
Well, you know, the problem is that they have been hard to come by, and when a fish gets hard to come by, there's a lot of reasons for it. And everybody says, well, what about the trout? Or not the trout, but the wheat fish.
Right.
The wheat fish just all but disappeared, right, Bill?
Yep.
The last couple of years they've been making a comeback.
But then you got the
Not
people
like
saying,
it was 15, 20 years ago, but
you got the people complaining about there's not enough stripers. What do you think is eating these sea trout? What do you think, you know, and then Salem nuclear plant I think has a lot to do with it.
Well, a tremendous amount. I was involved with the CAC, with the Center for the Inland Bays situation there with the power plant here in the Indian River. And they literally just about closed that plant up as far as using the water goes to cool their generators. Now it's all air cooled, and there's a lot more fish. In fact, there's a whole survey that goes on. Kernahan is in charge of that with the Center for the Inland Bays. They're catching it. They've got one on their website right now. They want somebody to identify. They don't even know what it is.
Really?
Yeah, they're getting all these different fish out of Rehoboth Bay, and it's just phenomenal the amount of fish that are starting to show up. Since the power plant changed its methods of operation, and you know, the Salem plant, you're absolutely right. There's millions of fish being killed every day up there at that nuclear plant. So they have to go to a air cooling too.
Yeah, it takes us slow.
But back to the sea bass, that's not in the inland bay. So there are a few sea bass, but they're not the ones that we catch.
Right.
You got to get 8 to 10 miles offshore to catch any amount of or any size of sea bass. Of course, in the wintertime they go out there for the deep drop. Well, that's all done. You know, it's on. The head boats, it's all closed.
They closed it on the first of the year. They closed sea bass, and that's usually what your long
That's
trips.
you know, and I heard talks.
Oh yeah, and the golden tile, and the tile fish, but
well, they'll go for that.
They'll go for that, but if there's no sea bass, the trips are more infrequent.
They're talking about not opening the sea bass season up until May 19th. You know, that's really bad, and it'll be open through the summer up until September 18th. and then closed for a month, which it always was in September.
was,
I don't
right,
really
right.
understand why they did that, but
Which makes it tough when the guys wanting to go out because you got Todd closing in
Yeah.
September too.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And the Stripers aren't here yet.
well, and then from October 18th to December 31st, it's open back up again. But we're
Right.
talking 15 fish.
It's only 15.
That's fine. I don't mind only 15.
Yeah.
I actually, literally, I remember the days that we went out there when there were no regulations on sea bass, and we kept hundreds of them, filled
Yeah.
barrels up with sea
Yeah.
bass, and it was just incredible. Every time you dropped the bait down, you'd have 2 and 3 on your
Yeah.
line. You know, that isn't anymore. So there might be a reason for them to cut it back. You know, when you start seeing the biomass diminishing like that.
What do you think of the 12.5-inch size?
Well, you know, 15 and 12 and a half inches is fine, and all of the spawning is closed, so that's good too, and they probably will recover for this. So I'm not totally against it. You know, we want to see regulations that are beneficial for the future and for the biomass of all the fish,
Right.
not just for this year. And here I am at tackle shop, and yeah, everybody says tackle shops want everything open and they want
Right.
to catch fish all the time.
Which we
No.
do, yes.
Well, no, not,
but
yeah, we do, but we don't.
Right.
We want to make sure that there's a good balance between what is fun to do and what's going to be good and fun for 20 years from now, 30 years from now for our grandchildren too.
Well, that's why you're on all those committees.
Yeah, that's why I'm
I
on all
think
those
I
committees.
can't wait
Watch
for
out for
the oyster harvest to start kicking in. That's going to really help.
That's going to be very soon
gonna be
now.
huge.
That's a law that's passed, and DENREC is working on all the regulations with that, and you're going to see. In fact, we just went to a restaurant and got oysters, and I said, "Where'd these oysters come from?" They said, "Chicken-Tick." And I said, "You're soon going to have Rehoboth Bay oysters in your restaurant. That's going to be as fresh as you can get."
You're not kidding there. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
Water up, bring all kinds of fish.
Well, it's
in.
going to clear the bays up tremendously, and it's going to add to the economy in the area. It's going
Right.
to bring jobs to the area, and it's going to help the local restaurants. It's a win-win-win-win situation all the way around.
Right.
And it's probably going to kick in within the next year. You're going to see them out there. It takes about 18 months to go from spat to
That's what I
a
was gonna ask.
saleable
About 18
oyster.
months.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. It's a lot of time in there, but once they're out there, they
Well,
cover a lot of
well
work.
Have they
then
started
it's
with-
cycling.
Yeah.
You know, then it's just a
Non-stop.
constant steady
Right.
thing.
have they started with any in the water yet?
Not yet.
That's
no.
going to be this spring, or?
I'm hoping it's this spring. I don't know. There's a couple of things we're working on. That's one, and the other is the dredging of Massey's. You folks out there with boats that are stuck in Rehoboth Bay, you got to use Baker's Channel right now to get out. But if you go to Massey's Landing and you launch your boat, you're going to have if it's low tide, you're going to have a really hard time getting out to the Indian River Bay.
Yeah.
That needs to be dredged, and there's a whole proposal in there. The money is allocated for it, and I think this spring they're going to be dredged. The last I heard, they're going to be dredging Massey's out for us. So
That's good.
that's another good thing that's coming.
Yep, yep.
It's getting better. It's getting
Yeah.
better. I mean, you want to talk about the flea market this year?
Oh, hey.
That always makes me
Flea
smile.
market.
I can't wait for that day.
Actually, you know, I can talk about it.
Actually, you know, that's my most favorite day of the year.
Yeah, it is.
I have the most fun on that one
Captain's in
day.
a good mood all day long.
Yeah, I'm smiling all day. You know, it's a lot of fun. While we have all the manufacturers reps, we're going to have people from Eagle Claw here. We're going to have people from Daiwa here. We're going to have Aquaclear here. There's just all of the manufacturers reps that do business here with Bill's Sport Shop are here to answer all of your questions.
Yeah,
You want to know about the new reels. The Daiwa guy with the new electric reel. We got 2 of them in, sold 1 already. That's for the deep drop, and now they're not deep. Well, they're deep dropping for the tile. They're
Yep.
golden tile. So, you
And
know,
they will again next October through December.
Yeah.
So the opportunities are there for the deep drop.
And these new bulls here.
yeah,
That's a very expensive spot.
Well, you know,
$500.
down in Florida, that's all. They fish for tuna and everything,
Yeah.
sailfish and all with spinning reels this size.
Magnetic
You know,
lure.
we do all the conventionals and the trolling and all that in
Right.
Florida. They don't do that.
Right.
I don't know. I'm one of those. I'm the old school, I guess, but I'm an old tuna fisherman. And, you know, I love to back it down on it.
Oh yeah.
Scare the heck out of the guys in the boat when I put that boat in reverse and that thing's down in and the water comes over the gunnel and it's up to their knees. We're sinking. No, you're not.
Listen,
Relax. We're
Get
backing
that
down
fish
on
in.
that guy.
Anyway, back to the flea market. When I get here about 4:30 in the morning because we open the store at 5 o'clock.
Already been an hour.
There's already about 20 guys set up out in
Yeah.
the parking lot. CJ was one of them last year here before I was.
Yep.
And if you get here to set up after 6 o'clock in the morning, you're going to have a hard time finding a spot.
Absolutely.
So make sure you're here early if you're here to set up.
And a lot of times it starts diminishing down around 10 o'clock. But what's the most fun is everybody out in the parking lot is selling their ware. They're putting money in it. I got a bunch of dogs. They're
Dog pound.
They're putting money into their pocket, and then they come in here and they buy new stuff. They sold their old stuff, and they come in and buy new. And if those that are shopping, that are out there and they don't find what they're looking for out there, they come in here and they find it.
And the other thing is a lot of guys will buy used reels out there and bring them in to get spooled up. So we're going to have plenty of it.
Loads of help here too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Loads of help.
A radio station will be here broadcasting live.
Yeah, we're going to broadcast live. We're going to have the Bill and Judy show here that's normally on weekdays. Well, Mike is on with Judy during the week, but Bill Colley's on with me on the Sports Talk show.
Right.
So, and Judy's been a customer of ours for 20 years. That we've been a bit.
together.
By the way, this flea market this year, CJ, it's our 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
We're going to have specials galore. I mean, we're going to have some real sales. You know, we've got all the brand new coolers, all
50%
the
off all clothing.
we're going to do the 50% off on the clothing, right? And we're going to have some real specials on reels and rods and combos and racks for your trucks and just anything and everything the fisherman wants. We've got it all here, and we're going to have sales.
20 years, that's awesome. That is
Yeah,
awesome.
it is.
That is great.
Well, actually, it's 20 years for me.
Right.
When I started 20 years ago, I had a business in Philadelphia, came down here, and the store was for rent at the corner where McDonald's is.
Right, I remember that.
And, we set up a whole myriad of different businesses, and the first guy walked through the door and said, "Do you have minnows?" And I said, "No, but I'll get them." That's really what started it. And
No, but I'll get them.
we were working on Memorial Day, and my son was working with me, and we had a beauty supply business in Philadelphia, so we set that up. That's where we're known here as Perms and Worms. And he sold a perm, and he sold a box of worms to one customer. He says, "Look at this, Dad, perms and worms." And
That's awesome.
that stuck for 20 years.
That's a great combination, man.
And so it was before me, and everybody can remember, and I worship the ground that this man walked on as Haas.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Haas had the tackle shop for 20 plus years before I
He
did.
was a great family friend, and I love him to death.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was.
He's
He
the one
was
who taught me
great
at
to me.
Longcast when I was just a little kid.
Did he?
And he could throw.
Oh, he could throw. Yeah. He was a lineman.
Yep.
That's it. Didn't you do that?
Yeah, I was a lineman for Comcast, actually.
Yeah.
Not really a lineman, it was construction linemen or power guys. You know.
Well, that's what
we get to
Haas
play with
was.
low balls.
Yeah, and he started his tackle shop there.
Strong as a bull.
Then he opened up over at the pier.
Yep.
And he left the corner, and I basically took over at that point. R&R was in there for a couple of years.
Yep.
And they moved up the road, but I just went in and read at the store, and that's what started Bill's Sports Shop.
And now you got all this.
Look at this, yeah. It's to start out semi-retired and
Yeah,
end up with all this.
Yeah. Any other fish we want to cover, or is that pretty much it until we
Well,
you want to
they're
get?
talking about stripers, and they're talking about cutting back on stripers. Now, it's just talk right now. There's no real anything on the table about the stripers, but there are so many stripers out there in that EE zone, and yeah, I would like to mention that. I've been an advocate of opening up the ocean to striper fishing.
Make them a game fish. Keep them a day.
Make them a game fish, right. And there's just so many of them out there. You go out past that 3-mile line, and you're going to find 40 and 50-pound stripers out there galore.
That's where the food is.
On Saltfish just recently, Dr. Dwayne Fox was out there. He had the permits. He was out on a boat that had all the special permits for hook and line tag. They were about 20, 25 miles out. They had at least a dozen fish over 50 pounds.
Yeah.
One of them was at 74 pounds.
Yeah, and the state record's 52 pounds right here.
They caught 250 fish that day.
Yeah.
In line.
With electronic shockers, they normally spend a little bit of time here in the station. They said last year that they were so busy, just one station a day instead of moving, because they had so many fish.
Right.
It's just people don't catch them, so they get paranoid. And they're all out there where the bait fish are.
Yeah.
Bait fish aren't in here. Manhattan's down.
Now, we talked about it on an earlier show where basically it was the whole season, it was a westerly wind.
Yeah, all
And it kept all the bait.
southwest and west, west, so.
Blows them right out.
Blows them right out.
Well, there you have it.
Yep.
That's what they call a wrap.
Yeah, that's a wrap. We don't have to wrap it up. We're running out of
Military
time.
Appreciation Day, October 11th. We're going to need a lot of people, a lot of volunteers, lots of boats. We're looking for 50 boats. Right now we have about 18, 19 boats.
Oh, that's
Delaware Paddle Sports volunteered 15 kayaks and 2 guides for that event.
Oh, that's
Just
sweet.
heard that this morning.
That's sweet. That's
Yeah, isn't that neat?
That is neat. Well, it's going to be great. We got March 8th next door. And I don't know if you want to be there that day too. Maybe go
Yeah,
over some more
yeah,
rules.
I do. Yeah, I'll learn. I need to learn about surf fishing.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a lot of special guests there. Maybe you'll learn something about that.
Yeah, you can always learn. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Still
that's
learning.
true. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And talk to you next week. Rock the rocks. Rocks.